Hello. This is my video response to a video that I recently saw on YouTube that basically scared the poop out of me, where Jesse Ventura, he's on the hunt for the truth, and he basically exposes two things that most people don't know about. Probably you're watching this video and finding out about both of these practices for the first time. And what ended up scaring me a little bit more about this video is after I watched it and I did some research, I found out that both of these practices were taken largely out of context in this video. The one that I'm concerned about is what he made out to be concentration camps that are popping up all over the United States. It makes it look really scary when you show up to these sites and can't get any information out of the people that are running them. And they look like basically like prisons with playgrounds on the inside and such. And well, anyways, if you haven't seen the video, I suggest you watch it. It's pretty long though, so I'll synopsize real quick. He shows us the fusion centers. They're these information gathering places in every major city in the United States where they're putting people on watch lists based on political action and political motivation and even supporting political candidates. Basically building profiles about each citizen, which is pretty scary, and they probably shouldn't be doing it, but they are privately run corporations using information that they're not exactly gathering. They're gathering information that people are making public about themselves. So technically, you can't say that that's wrong or unconstitutional. To say that the government should restrict them from gathering such information would be a precedent for scarier things to happen in the future. So I think that it's okay that they're doing it. I don't know who they're giving the information to or what the affiliation is between these private corporations that are running fusion centers and the group that we'll get into later that is actually running these concentration camps that Jesse Ventura shows us. And we'll talk a little bit about the coffins that he showed us also, because these three things together are enough to make you afraid of supporting the political candidate that you think is the right choice, enough to make you afraid of just speaking out of turn or protesting something that you don't think is right. And I don't think anybody should be afraid of that. Not only that, but I don't think there's grounds for anybody to be afraid of that. And it's kind of scary that somebody in a position of power, a governor, is actually trying to engender that fear. The reason why I'm making this response is to make sure that you guys get educated. At least give you a start on it. I'm not saying I know every little aspect of everything in the video, but I'm going to show you some things that I've found that that have made it pretty clear to me that this is a bunch of crap. And basically, there's a scene where it makes it very clear to us that Jesse Ventura is putting on a show for us to make us afraid. And that's when he's interviewing a politician in Washington about this bill that provides funding for these concentration camps that we see later in the video. He's having a conversation with this guy, and he asks him about an affiliation with ICE. And the politician doesn't know really who he's talking about, who's ICE. And I'll tell you why he doesn't know. Because the politician most likely has encountered both of the organizations that use that acronym in his career and wants to know which one he's talking about. He probably doesn't even know which bill he's talking about because he doesn't bring up the number of the bill until after he asks him about this. But ICE is could be the Information Council on the Environment, which is a group that is basically investigating the ecological impact of our business practices in the United States. Or could be the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement Department, which basically, if you know INS, if you know what that means, the Immigration and Naturalization Service was replaced in 2001, 2002, somewhere in there, when we made the Homeland Defense bills and such that basically restructured most of the federal government. Anyways, so ICE is the successor of the INS, right? And they do run these residential facilities all over the United States where escape is an issue, where you don't want them getting out of these residential facilities, but you're not exactly treating them like prisoners either, because the people that are getting placed in these residential facilities are illegal aliens awaiting the end of their trials before they get deported. Whole families of them. So we're not talking about some conspiracy to house political dissidents in a concentration camp and then end up mass murdering these people and throwing them in coffins, which the coffins, by the way, are a part of DMORT, which is a part of Fema. It's basically just in case there is a disaster, something happens where a lot of people are killed, like maybe what happened in New York back in 2001, or maybe something like Katrina. Anything where there's going to be lots of bodies laying around, we have these coffins laying around just in case, so we can put them all on a truck, ship them to the location, and deal with it in a hygienic manner so that people don't end up getting sick from being, surrounded by corpses. Three totally unrelated things that he's trying to stitch together. And basically, he knows that you don't know about any of these three things, or that personally, I'm offended by the fact that he even poked fun at the people that are watching the video he's making when he asked about ICE, because he's basically saying that the people who know what ICE is are going to understand what we're talking about here and probably not be too worried about this video. But people who just don't happen to do a lot of research on what government departments there aren't going to know what it is, and probably won't research it, and are probably just going to take the message of this video to heart, which is be afraid of being a political dissident. That's the part of it that makes me nervous. So do your own research. Look these things up if you want to. Like I said, ICE, DMORT, D-M-O-R-T. These are the things that you need to research to find out that all three of these things that we saw in the video are unrelated and not as ominous as some people would like you to think. So, anyways, there you go.